While the doors are drying, I need to start setting up for how I'm going to size these doors. I'm going to be using knife hinges, which are these guys right here. There's going to be one on the top, one on the bottom. I've installed these once before. It was years ago, but I'm going to do it again. It's a very nice look, and they're basically hidden. One thing I need to do is I need to determine this gap between the two hinges. I remember in the last set I did, there was a washer, and all I did was measure the washer and make that size shim. Unfortunately, on these, the washer is integral to the part of the leaf of the hinge. So what I've got to do is I'm going to measure first the thickness with that, which is 5/32, and then without the washer on there, which is 1/8. So I know that that gap right there, that width of that washer is 1/32 of an inch. So I need to cut some shims up to that exact size. I know this is silly to show how I'm going to cut these shims, but I get a lot of questions lately about my new Incra table saw fence. This is one of the things that's kind of nice about it. I mean, it's not the only reason I bought it, but something like this really helps. I've got a board which is a known thickness of 6 3/4 inches here, and I'm going to cut off 1/32 off the cutoff side. So all I need to do is take the table or the fence and move it over 5/32 of an inch, which is the thickness of the blade and an extra 1/32 of an inch. And the way this thing works is that it locks down on that 1/32 of an inch. So I should be able to take a pass with this and come out with the perfect 1/32 of an inch shim. I don't know if you can see that, but that's dead nuts on 1/32 of an inch. So that's pretty impressive. I just need to make about a half a dozen of these. I'm going to mark the location of the knife hinges on the bottom piece now. And what I need to do is I need to take 2 sections of the cut up shim, and that's going to give me a 1/16 of an inch, and that's going to position the knife hinge a 1/16 of an inch off the sides of the case. And I want to have the round barrel end of that flush with the edge of the case for right now. And I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark around that hinge, because that needs to be mortised into the bottom and the top of the cabinet. On the top I have to do something a little bit different, and I'll show you that. The reason the top is a little bit different is I've got it temporarily clamped down. The reveal on the sides of the top is 5/16 of an inch, while on the bottom it's only 1/8 of an inch. So I've got the top clamped in temporarily, and I've made a mark so I can get it back in the exact same spot. I'm going to do the same thing with the shim here and this on the top of that, but I need to make sure that the reveal is this, or the hinge is in the same place on the top as on the bottom. So if this is a 5/16 inch reveal and the bottom is a 1/8 inch reveal, that leaves me 3/16 of an inch. And I've just got a stop ruler here with it set up at 3/16 of an inch. So I just need to put that in place and then again carefully mark where that hinge will be. Well, using the hinge, I marked out the rest of it on the back side. I'm getting ready to hog out most of the waste with my router. The way I have this set up is, I can set it up again real quick, it only take a second. So I brought my stop up, basically zeroed out the router to the wood. Now all I'm going to do is loosen my depth stop again and put the actual hinge leaf in there. And what that will do is when I push down here, the distance that it goes down will be the exact depth. I could do this with a chisel. The nice thing about the router is that it gives me a uniform depth across it. And again, I'm going to hog out most of it with this, and I'm going to come back with some sharp chisels. The thing I have to be really careful on is the rounded corners, or the rounded edge, mainly because I don't have round chisels. So I'm going to come really close to that line. The other ones, I'll come fairly close within a 1/16 or 32nd of an inch. And of course, I'll chop out the corners. Well, here's one of the routed out mortises for one of the leaves of the hinge. And again, I'm just going to take a sharp chisel and just very gently pare away some of this little bit of an excess here. And I don't want to go too far. I don't want to use a hammer. I just want to do it very gently. This will take me a few minutes, but once I'm done, the fit's going to be very nice. Alright, that's the fit I'm looking for. It's very tight in there, and it's perfectly flush with the surface of this board. So I just need to do the other three in the same fashion, and then I can start the assembly of the case. Well, I forgot there is one more thing that I need to do before I start the assembly of the case. I need to put a round over on 3 edges of the top and the bottom, and this is what I'm looking for here. It's a very gentle curve. But I just want to make a slight bullnose on the end. Again, I've got my router table set up and I'm ready to make the cut. Now, of course, comes the most fun you're going to have on a project, which is the sanding. I'm going to start at 120, work my way up to 320 grit on these pieces. The time is finally here to do the glue up. I've got all my stuff ready. Before I finally decided to go ahead and do the glue up on this, I took a step back. I looked at all the things that I've done and that I have to do in the future to finish this piece. And there's a couple things I found out I still needed to do, so that's always a good idea. One of the things is I needed to put some adjustable shelf pins. I'm going to be ordering a piece of glass that's going to go in here. I don't have that yet. I also wanted to go ahead and put in the screws for the brass hardware. It'd be much easier now than when the piece is together. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Again, I'm not going to videotape this because I'm sure it's going to bore the heck out of you to see me glue this up. But I will show you the final product. Here's the cabinet all glued up. I am still gluing up on the top. I'm going to sit for a couple hours yet. Came out perfectly square, which is always very nice. The next step after this is to go on and fit the doors to the cabinet.